What's going on, everybody? This is Warren Dews, the Vice President of Capital Region Independent Media. As you know, I'm also the publisher of the Ravenna News Herald, the Greenville Pioneer, and the Columbia Paper. And we also own the Upstater. Now, we do this thing called community conversations where you get to know businesses, or you can ask the expert, or you meet your neighbor. This right here checks a bunch of boxes because you're going to get to know this person that I'm going to talk to. You probably already know her. She's an expert in a lot of fields, but she's also one of your neighbors in the market that we're going to talk about. Friend, who are you? Who are you, friend?
Hi, Warren. My name is Marlene McTigue. I am the Regional Director of Client and Community Relations for Capital Region Independent Media.
That sounds familiar. Didn't you work for them before?
I did work with Mark. Would you like me to tell the story?
Yeah, tell the story. Tell the story.
I did work with Mark Vinciguerra, the president of Capital Region Independent Media, years ago when he was the publisher of the Ravenna News Herald, the Greene County News, the Chatham Courier, the Windham Journal, the Catskill Daily Mail, and the Hudson Register Star. I worked as a reporter for the News Herald and the Greene County News for 4 years. And then I left that job and I went to work at the corporate office in Hudson for Columbia Green Media in sales and advertising. And
Stop right there. I've been doing this media thing for almost 30 years, right? And I remember when I used to work for Gannett, there were rules where the newsroom and the sales team couldn't even go to lunch together. Like if you were a news person, you went to lunch with a salesperson, you might get fired. Like now you were on the news side, and you became a salesperson. Like, what happened? Tell us about that.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, my children became too expensive to support on a journalist salary. That's sad, but that is true. That is it. There was an economic reason for me to make them move, and I moved into marketing and advertising, and it was a good fit. I had already been out in the community meeting with people on a regular basis, so I already had those relationships established. So it was easy for me to move into marketing, and my degree is in journalism. So I've been doing like public relations and journalism writing pretty much, most of my life now.
No, so Marlene, first of all, I'm happy that you're back with the company. You're definitely a great add back to the family, and all the stuff you just said is huge. I said my wife. I met my wife at a newspaper. My wife got a journalism degree from NYU, but to look at you reporters and people with a journalistic background, it's a skill that's really cool because your job is to sit down and listen to people ask questions. Well, to be a good salesperson, you got to do that same thing. So, and I've seen you do your thing. Like, so how do you use that journalistic background to become a salesperson? Explain that.
Well, I really think it's about making connections. If you are able to sit down and have a conversation with somebody and find what you have in common, it's really easy to make the connections you need to become a trusted source in the community. Can we talk about specific clients?
Yeah, if you want to do what you want, yeah.
So, for example, Warren and I met with a client of ours, Paul Colarusso from Colarusso Cement Industries, Colarusso Industries, a couple of weeks ago. And it was just amazing how much we have in common with Paul and how similar the industries are here in Clemens to the industry that is happening in Hudson, and the problems that they are trying to overcome there with being a community that's a river community where a lot of the prosperity that they've experienced has been from industry over the years. So it was really great to sit down and talk with Paul and talk about the experience that we've had here in Clemens trying to help out in that regard over the years and how we can use that experience that we've had to help him with his public relations and marketing as well.
That's cool. And so let's talk about that. So you're also very connected in the community. You live in the capital region. You're on several boards and things like that. So talk about why you're doing that. I know you're the president of this Ravenna Queens Selco Business Association. Like
We
why?
have no president at the, I just want to make a note that we don't have a president at the Business Association, but I am the chair of the board of directors,
Okay.
Which is an excellent and amazing organization. But I feel like, there's a guy who is a sales coach named Ryan Thorne, and he says that in order to be successful and happy in life, you have to turn on the gas. And that stands for you have to wake up every morning with a heart full of gratitude. You have to practice a good attitude, and you have to want to practice servitude. And I totally believe that. I grew up in a home where my parents were small business owners, and they were residential real estate. They had a residential real estate company. And, my dad and my siblings were, the people who did all of the work within the apartments when they had to be refurbished and stuff like that. But my mom was really the public relations person for the company. And when she saw a need amongst her tenants, she used her resources to fill it. So she absolutely has a servant's heart. And so is my dad. My dad has been, he retired very early from General Motors when they closed in Messina, and was able to dedicate his life to other stuff. And he's been volunteering ever since for probably about 30 or 40 years now. Like he does the bread run for the Salvation Army in his town, and he is a volunteer for Meals on Wheels. So that's how I grew up. We always were volunteering. I had great Girl Scout leaders growing up. And I totally believe that if you had great women who led you as a child, it is your responsibility to pass that along. So it's just, I do the things I do volunteer wise because that's how I was raised, I'll say.
Well, the other thing that I've noticed from you that in the business, we're a small company, but we have a big footprint. We reach over 102,000 people a month, just our websites, and we're doing really well. We own 7 papers. The reason I bring all those things up is to ask you this question: is I know that you sell advertising not just for commission and money. I mean, you made the change in life to sell because you had to take care of your family. But I also believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you want to make sure that these companies, these local businesses that you're working with, that they're successful because you care about the growth of the community, and that's through small businesses. So talk about that. Am I accurate?
Oh yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think that it was, of benefit to them. So, it's just about finding solutions. A lot of companies, need to change the perception of how they are in the community. They need to reach more customers. We have so many different ways we can do this. We are a lot of people might not know this. We are your local newspaper, but we're also a full service marketing agency. So anything you could buy from any other marketing agency, you can buy from us, including, ads on streaming services, radio, you name it, search engine marketing, SEO. We can do that at Capital Region Independent Media. And I have to give you and Mark credit for choosing to offer those services, because it just creates additional revenue streams for us to not only help our clients, but also for us to be able to keep local journalism alive in our community. And Ravenna's very lucky. There are so many places around this country that no longer have a local newspaper that you can open up every week and see what's going on with the kids at school. Is the football team going to the finals? What's happening at the local board level? Here in Queens, we have a village board and a town board. The News Herald reports on both of those boards. And you don't get that if you don't have a local newspaper. Do you know there is one county in New York State that doesn't even have a single paper? Otsego County has no newspapers in their entire county that are based there. So they're getting their news from outside of the community. So how much really local news do you think they're getting? So I am 100% committed to the mission of keeping local journalism alive in our community. I think it's so important. I mean, our job is to shine a light on what's happening in local government so everybody knows what's happening so you can make informed decisions. Our democracy depends upon it. So that's why I'm really passionate about what I do. And now I'm serving a paper both on in a sales goal, and I'm also writing now too. So that's really fun and interesting, actually.
Well, the other thing I wanted to make sure we didn't forget is that we also can help you with signage. We do yard signs. We can wrap your car. I mean, we have access to it all. So that's great for a small company. But talk about what you just brought up, though, is because, like I said, back in the day, you would keep those things divided. But now it just makes sense to have someone like you that knows how to ask the questions and write a story. And we know how to separate church and state. You're not going to write a story and sell ads. We'll figure all that out. But why do you think it's important to have that skill set that you have? And how can you use it for the company and for your advertisers? And
well, again, I'll just go back to the institutional knowledge of the community. I've been here for, I think, 25 years now. We moved to the Capital District, my husband and I. And so writing about the community, you really get to know about the community. So I feel like journalists are some of the best people to talk to when you want to know the community and the audience that you're trying to reach, because it's their job to know. And also I have found that that a lot of people who enter the field of economic development were once journalists as well too. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. As Warren, you said that I am the chairperson of the local community business association. I also serve in economic development initiatives on the county level as an appointee of Albany County to the IDA. And I serve also on a regional level too as a member of the leadership board of the Center for Economic Growth, which works every day to try to attract businesses to our community. And when I say our community, I mean our capital region, 7-county district. And man, the leadership there is doing a phenomenal job. I mean, the growth that we've experienced in the capital region over the last, since I've been paying attention to economic development initiatives, I'd say last 10 years or so, it's mind-boggling, and it's only going to get better because we have county leadership, we have state leadership, we have federal leadership now that's so invested, so determined to invest in making this a prosperous place for everybody on so many different levels, whether it's renewable energy or other economic development initiatives. I mean, we're in a competition right now for China to be the people who develop the chips that go into everything you own. I heard a statistic one time that the average person owns like 110,000 chips. I shouldn't have quoted that because I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's in the hundreds of thousands for one single human being. So if we aren't being competitive and trying to be the people who develop chips for all of the appliances and devices that we own, we're going to fall behind on the worldwide market. So we are in a fantastic place when it comes to economic growth here in New York State. So I love it.
Before we go, because we've got some more to talk about, but talk about what happened. Was it last week when yourself, myself, Mark, and a couple other folk went to the State House? Talk about that and how exciting that was.
That was so exciting. So, as I mentioned before, I am a lifelong proponent of local journalism. And we had the opportunity last week to go to the New York State Capitol with so many of our associates from all over the state. Actually, Capital Region Independent Media has formed an alliance with 150 other newspapers statewide, I believe, to support the bill that we went in support of, Local Journalism Sustainability Act, that's being sponsored by Kerry Warner and a senator from New York. And that bill will help to bring more journalists to newsrooms through tax credits. So it is a little bit complicated, but I did write about it. So you can read about it in the News Herald if you're interested in learning more. But and I speak for everybody at Capital Region Independent Media. I know I do. We are so committed to keeping this mission alive. We're going to do what it takes. So it was really great to be at the Capitol meeting with our representatives and encouraging them to do what's right and help us to continue to do what we do to shine a light on local government, spread the word about what's happening in our communities, give advertisers an opportunity to reach local audience.
So Marlene, if you had to explain or yourself to someone in a word or a phrase, what would that be? Who's Marlene?
um, I am enthusiastic. How about that?
Okay.
I don't know. That's
I was gonna
hard,
say I was
Warren.
gonna say
That's hard to
crazy.
do.
No,
That
no,
too.
no.
That's hard to do on the spot, Warren.
Well, this is what I do. This is what I do. But no, enthusiastic. I totally agree with you. Can I give you what I'm going to give you what I see from the outside? Someone that's
Sure.
enthusiastic about making sure that everyone around them is successful. I think
Yes.
you want to make sure that things are run a certain way and structured, but you want to make sure. But it's not just for you. You want to make sure it helps everyone else around you. That's what I
Right.
see when I'm around you. So.
Right. Because I can. So why wouldn't I? That's my opinion about it. Like if you have, my God, I mean, we're just the fact that we were born in this country where we have the opportunities that we have, we are blessed. I mean, and for you to not realize that and to use your powers for good, I think it's a waste.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Marlene, what would you want your last words? What would you want to say to the people that's going to listen to this? To the people that you're going to be in front of their door trying to sell them advertising. You might be asking somebody for an interview to talk about a story. What do you want to say? What's your message to those people?
My message is that this is an excellent organization and we exist for a good reason. And that reason is to keep the community informed. So if you have the opportunity to invest in marketing and advertising, I would ask that you choose a local media organization like a local paper to do that, because not only will you be getting the marketing services that you need, but you'll also be supporting this important mission that's essential to our democracy.
Awesome. I don't know how this. I remember somewhere they were talking about how if you spend $1, and I'm not going to say names, but if you spend $1 at a local, let's use a local hardware store versus a big chain, that dollar stays in your market longer. And if you go to some
Right.
other huge big chain, which I'm not knocking them, but that dollar leaves right away. And so it's the same thing with what you said with local media. You spend your money here, it stays here longer. And when I say here,
Right.
we're local. We're local. We own local newspapers in small towns. And Washington County, Greene County, Columbia County, and Albany, and parts of Vermont. We're a small paper, and we make sure that the money is staying in those areas. So I appreciate you coming back to the family. I'm excited about what we're going to do together. And I think the community and our paper and our company is going to be much better with you. So, Marlene, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
Warren.
No problem. So, everybody, once again, this is Warren Dews. This is Community Conversations. This is Get to Know, Ask the Expert, and meet your neighbor, all in one. You're doing all that in one. Any questions, always, you can get in contact with us through our Facebook page, through our website, or call me directly at 413-212-0130. Thank you so much.